5, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first item is the approval of the minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Approval of the order of agenda. Sorry, I needed to add something. I apologize. I wasn't as quick as you guys. I need to add something for our highway department to discuss engineering contract that just came through before or after the packet came out. So probably could just do it right away after citizen comments.
Madam Chair, I would move approval.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed? Oh, motion passed unanimously. All right, now moving on to the consent agenda, bills, overtime status changes, employee status changes, overtime, and then bonds for check reissue.
Move.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. And before we move on to our citizen comments, very quickly, because I know our sheriff does not love any attention, Mr. Andy Schneider, would you please come up here for 1 second? I heard you just had a really big anniversary, and we at the county are so appreciative of you and your servant leadership that we got a little token of our appreciation. We got you a plaque and a signed letter that I won't read in front of everybody because I know how much you love it. But thank you so much for 20 years.
Well, thank you.
Heard you got a gun too? Might not be as cool as a gun, but
Yeah.
something nice to hang in your new office.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Enjoy your funfetti cake on your birthday. I heard you're getting a nice one. So, all right. No happy birthday?
Good.
We'll move on. Okay. All right, Mr. West, do you want to talk to us about that contract quick? Thanks.
Thank you, Chair Hagan, members of the board. A contract came to Chair Hagan's computer through the DOT for engineering work on the bridge. It's 126-12.1, but it's the same structure that Commissioner Bierke would have brought before the board to hire KLJ for the work a month ago. The interesting part of this one is it's 100% federally paid, so it's no county money, but they still require county consideration on it. I did look at the contract. It's a standard federal aid contract. Ms. Wamstead has not looked at it yet, but if we could do like a preliminary approval of it.
I'll move approval contingent upon review by the state's attorney.
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. And that would, sorry, I should have clarified it's for auditor and chairman signature. So,
Very good.
oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. I missed that.
All right.
That is all I have.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I glossed over citizen comments, and I think tonight we just have Mr. Hutton. If you'd like to, you're gonna. Sure. Maybe, I'm not really sure, but I think we'll get to it when we get there. Okay, sounds good. All right, Director, Human Service Zone. Thank you.
Chair Hagan, members of the commission, good afternoon. I am here for a reappointment or an appointment of a board member. Emily O'Brien, former representative, was on my board and took a position with North Dakota Department of Health and Human Services as the deputy commissioner. My board does require a legislator on that, so I'm requesting the appointment of Senator Jeff Barta to my board, which would begin immediately.
Move approval.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right. Lou, you are up, sir.
Madam Chair, members of the board here, just good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of Operation Greenlight with Veterans Day fastly approaching next week. We have a resolution there, looking for support of that and signature by the chair. And then there's also a letter for our paper too. And
This is the same that we've done.
very similar, just
previously.
very minor change.
Move approval. Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you very much.
That was quick. Thank you. All right, courthouse improvement grant update. Would that be Gracie? Yep.
Favorite topic.
Good afternoon, Chair Hagan, members of the board. So there is no major update for this project right now beyond that Bill Grashevsky is in the process of getting the estimates for the carpeting in place. And so working with contractors or, who he usually works with to get an estimate. And so then hopefully either by the next meeting in November or the very first meeting in December, we will have a grant application to bring your way and request a signature on to move forward with replacing the carpet, the 50-year-old carpet that exists in the courthouse. So that's the only update there, if it's all right. I'm also the compatible use RFP recommendation line item, if I can jump right into that. All right, so the update there is that yesterday, a selection committee on which Commissioner Ross is a part of, and if you want to jump in at any point, please do, met and held 4 interviews we had 4 different proposals to do this study. This is the study to get a plan in place for the area surrounding Grand Forks Air Force Base for airspace, land use, very important moving forward. And you guys have heard about that a lot up to now. So that's that $600,000 grant. A lot of great applications, but the selection committee kind of came to the consensus that they needed a bit more time after the interviews to review the proposals, look over their notes, and the group will be getting together next week to meet again, decide on the recommendation, and then we'll come to the board with that firm and recommend selection in order to enter into contract negotiations. And then hopefully, once that firm is in place, in December and January, we can get kicked off and moving forward on the actual study part of it. Do you have anything to add, sir?
Just that Gracie did a really good job putting that thing together. She's got 4 groups of people that came in and made presentations. I can't hardly lift my briefcase because it's so heavy with reading material, which Mr. Bierke could appreciate. So yeah, it's a phenomenal deal that you did, and I appreciate it very much. We are going to meet next Monday at 2 o'clock to make a final decision. And at that point, it will be presented to the board on the 18th of November. So
Sir.
thank you, Gracie.
And thank you. Sorry for providing all those reading materials. It's a lot to ask of the selection committee, but they've all been great. Thank you.
Thanks, Gracie. All right, Colleen, you're up.
Is there anyone here objecting to the minimum sales price determined by the county commissioners for the tax deed property? If not, Madam Chair, members of the commission, I would like a motion to approve the minimum sales price of the county tax deed properties and set the sale for November 18th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in the commission room. And the terms of the sale are cash or check only.
Moved. Second.
Second.
Right. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Oh, you had? Yes. Okay. All right, Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioners, a few items for consideration approval. First one is a service agreement between the county and Vanguard. It's a service agreement renewal. They provide the software that the tax assessing office uses for assessing purposes throughout the county. It's something Ms. Gudaitis budgets for every year. Looking for board approval and chair signature.
So moved with chair signature.
Second.
All right, we have a first and second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Next item, I'm happy to present the Youth Assessment Center Correctional Center Expansion Project final change order. What it does is it reduces the guaranteed maximum price by $295,230.27. It does require board approval to accept, and so I'm asking for board approval and chair's signature on the change order.
Terry?
Well, I got a question first.
Yes, sir.
On this money now, is for the auditor, is this taken off what we owe? Is it part of a bond? How exactly does this work now? If this is reduced, how does that work? What's the plan for both those, if you can? Okay,
And we request it as we use it, so we would just have that much less to pay back.
okay. So we haven't closed those loans out yet?
No.
So once this is done, then we're going to close the loans out. And the final prices we had here of the jail react was 33,823,934.77, and the dome was 4,044,672.40. That's the final price for both those projects then. And the loans will be closed off at that time.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, thank you. I'll move approval, please.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Next is the courthouse dome rehab project final change order. Reduces the guaranteed maximum price by $365,657.60. So I'd be asking for board approval and acceptance with chair signature.
Move.
I'll
Second.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. Next item is the building closure policy. Just to recap for the commission, I was directed to work with the state's attorney's office and human resources to start reviewing and updating the county handbook or employee manual. We are currently reviewing over 10. It does take some time because they're all essentially one affects the other. It's a domino effect, but we're looking over 10 policies right now that'll eventually come back to the board. One of them is the inclement weather policy. And this policy's been a topic of discussion for quite a while, not just by this board. But this current policy essentially outlines the process for the county board chair to close county office building and courthouse in the event of significant or severe weather. It also allows for we call inclement weather pay. And so that's for essential employees. Currently, the policy says when closed, essential employees who work while county offices are closed will earn 1 hour of compensatory time for each hour of office remains closed during normal business hours. So what you have before you is a building closure policy. So what I'm going to recommend eventually is that the current inclement weather policy is repealed and then replaced with the proposed building closure policy. Where staff needs board direction and input is really around the inclement weather pay. And that is also something that's been discussed very recently on amongst the board here on how to handle that. And so the building, and these are two, let me back up, Madam Chair. The building closure policy is not tied to the inclement weather pay as presented. So what's being presented is an expanded building closure policies that doesn't just take into account severe weather. It would take into account loss of power. It would take into account a cyber attack, security threats and terrorism, evacuations. And it's still grants the chair the authority to close county facilities in any event this happens. So that would be a declaration by the chair. There would be in this proposed policy a second declaration, so they're not tied together. In discussions, we offered up a compromise for what's called inclement weather, a stipend. So if, Madam Chair, you close the courthouse and the county offices, that would be your prerogative. You would then in turn, at your prerogative, declare the county, the inclement weather stipend. So for another example, if it's a Saturday and it's a severe blizzard, and there's no travel advisories, people are being told to stay home, we still have essential employees that need to show up to work, the chair could essentially invoke the inclement weather stipend of $200. So they aren't, doing one doesn't trigger the other automatically. They're two separate acts. So I will, regardless of what the board decides on the inclement weather pay, I'm still going to highly recommend repealing the inclement weather policy and replacing with the building closure policy. That said, how to handle the inclement weather pay is really a board decision. It's a policy decision. And so I'm looking for some direction on the board. In this current draft, you see the stipend, it's the board's discretion, $100, $200. Staff is presenting $200 for the conversation's sake. The board could decide to keep the double time and not do the stipend. You have options. The board could also say, you're essential employees. You're expected to show up to work if you're scheduled to work. It's a board decision. But this is something that staff needs commission consensus on so that we can complete the policy. So looking for some direction.
All right, I'd like to have some discussion of this, but I know Mr. Hutton has been patiently waiting to put his 2 cents in.
So sorry if this information is, or Madam Chair and Board, sorry if this information is quick, but I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare this, so I could only give you what I collected. Whenever there is a benefit decrease is where the Employees Association is going to get involved and say, well, we think this should be more, this should be less, or however we figure that out. And what the information you have before you, I want to say that it's not hazardous duty pay or inclement weather pay. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the benefit of the hour for that one employee to the other employee gets. So like holiday pay, if an essential employee works on a holiday, he gets hour for hour that he works, where the other employees would have that time off. Essentially what I'm saying is, as the employee side of it, being essential is if the county is closed for 3 hours, then anybody else that works that day, hour for hour, it should be that they should also get that 3 hours somehow, some way, whether it's pay, whether it's time off, or however they work it out. So with that, I kind of crammed all this together. And you can see 2022 up to 2025, what was paid out in inclement weather pay. Obviously, I only have access to the sheriff's office and the correctional center. I didn't have the highway or the youth assessment center at this point because I didn't have time. So I was able only to give you the numbers that we have. Again, in 2022, that was a bad year for us. We had quite a few closures or late openings. 2023, you see that it's less. 2024 was a few times. And then 2025, we've had nothing so far. With that, we're talking, dividing that by 4 years, you're talking a difference of $8,000 a year. So do we cut the employees' benefits? Do we make them happy? Do we keep it as it is? With that, I did throw out a poll to the employees. And you'll see in the survey with the nice little graphs, it kind of gives you that idea. Like the first question that I sent out, do you feel the current inclement weather policy needs to change? 70 said yes, 30 said no. Inclement policy equally benefits all essential employees. 66 said no, 33 said yes. Ultimately, the majority of them seem to agree with my opinion. So that's just the graphs to show you that. And then The questions that I have about the policy and the changes, whenever there's a policy change, you always take out, or you always look at what it used to be to what it currently is. And there's no definition of building closure to get the stipend pay. So if it's a late opening, is that considered a closure for that stipend pay? I mean, that would make a difference in our stance. What's the definition of the building closure? And then $200 for the stipend versus hour for hour. Obviously, to represent the employees, I would say hour and hour is what's equal amongst all employees. And then the last thing that I have is in the role section. In the current policy, human resources is listed as a resource for the department heads. And in the current policy or the proposed policy, it states that human resources will be the administrators. They will ensure the compliance, and then they will provide training. We as employees feel that that should be a department head's decision on how to implement and how to approach those types of questions. I know that's a lot of information, but this is just what I could gather so far. Anybody have any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Rudden? Right out of the bat? All right. I think the commission should have some further discussion to visit about it a little bit, and then we need to have you chime in. I guess that would be fine, but I would like, and I know that the state's attorney has recommended that we don't vote on anything today. This needs to be a discussion. They need to review and redraft the policy before they come back and we vote on it again. So I just want to set that tone first, but I am open for discussion on this.
I'll go. I'm never afraid. I'm not for paying people $200 to come to work. Under the pie chart, do you believe it's this one here? You'll see when I get to it, everybody's going to be working. I'll just put it that way. So you don't have to worry about that. As far as closing the building for inclement weather, as far as I'm concerned, the policy should be, and I'm going blizzards because it's a flood wall running it. The flood comes over the top of the wall, we're all running anyway. We don't have to worry about closing the building. We won't be here. When it comes to blizzards, as far as I'm concerned, the policy should be that unless the mayor declares the city of Grand Forks is in a snow emergency and doesn't allow traffic on the roads, then we're open. That's my closure policy. The courthouse, I don't know. Is it the chief presiding judge? Whoever, I don't know what they decide. They're a little different ball game. They might have juries. They might have witnesses coming from out of town. I don't want to decide for them. That's not the judges. Whoever runs and Ms. Wamstead, when I'm done, or if you want to throw in whatever you got, but that to me, the courthouse is a separate building because that's some county, some state, and I'm not really sure who totally is running it, is deciding who would close it. I believe the policy should be for all workers is that if we get and this should be just planned out before winter hits. Let's just say a blizzard does it and it gets to bad enough we're going to close. Then it should be determined ahead of time that the employee has a plan to work from home if they're in a job that, I'm not talking about obviously deputies can't patrol from home. You can't jail from home. And most importantly, you can't plow roads from home. So they're working. That's why they're hired. But if you're in, say, in this building, then you have a plan to work from home, whether it be you take a laptop, whether your home computer can go into the county, however, which is easily done, then they're working from home. If they're not, if they can't work from home, then they have a choice of either vacation pay or leave without pay. As far as bombing, shootings, and all that stuff, if we're evacuating, we'll figure that out. I'm not going to set a policy that we're going to pay people extra because a bomb goes off in the building. Well, I just think that's, you're going to be out of the building and we'll see we make sure we got everybody here and we'll go from there. I'm all for having a plan for getting out of the building, but once again, even then, say something were to happen and they're going to be gone for X amount, then they go home and work from home, just like before. So the non-weather would work from home still the same. I guess if something happens at 3:45 and they're told to go home, then they're just going to get paid to 5. Time to get home and set up, it's 4:30. I'm not going to get to the point now where micromanaging 15-minute segments. But in general, if you're a deputy, if you're a jailer, or yak, or a highway department, that's what you signed on for. The people who work 8 to 5 in the county building, that's their job. They're in the building. On a side note, the jailer, you're in the building. Now, if you don't feel comfortable coming to work, especially if you live in the county, that's fine. Then you have a choice. Have you set up conditions to work from home, or you're going to take a vacation day, or you're going to take leave without pay? And I'm sorry for the sympathy factor, but I didn't drive in blizzards. I walked in blizzards. So thousands of people go to work in storms. And if you live in Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, it happened, but I can only think of one time in over 20 years when I didn't leave the post office. And I made it there, but the truck, I'll say it, the trucks are so poorly designed they couldn't handle the snow. So we couldn't go out because they'd all get stuck. So, and if you live in the county, I get it. I live in the county. Then that's why you have Plan B. So I don't like the message it sends for essential personnel. That's, in fact, there are times where I stayed at my son's house in town. I worked all day. I stayed in town. And then I got up and went to work the next morning so I could make sure I could be to work. And sheriff's got a big office and jail's got plenty of room. We'll bust out some cots if we need to. But these are essential jobs. And then I'll go home and throw some kids off my lawn. Okay, I'm done.
Madam Chair, just 2 quick things for Commissioner Bierke. Just again, to specify the if the board was to do or continue with the pay, it's only for a blizzard. So if there was a carbon monoxide leak in the building and you said, Tom, close it and send everyone home, there's no extra pay for that. It's only if it was a blizzard or treacherous.
Okay, good. We want to make sure that's clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I want that to be clear. And then with COVID, and one thing to come out of that was we as department heads came up with some very good work from home plans. So administratively, a lot of employees, and we've purposely switched out to laptops, a lot of employees, I'll use Ms. Goditis as an example, very thorough and organized. We know a blizzard is coming. Take your laptop home. If you can't make it, you can work from home. So I'll give kudos to the department managers. They do have some good planning for that, Commissioner Bierke. And I would just caution, I would, as your administrator, have the county chair have the discretion on what to do with county buildings. Nothing against the city or the mayor, but I would not take that out of the chair's purview.
I just wanted to emphasize how hard it would be before I would close a building.
There.
And I think if you would notice that last year there was $0 spent. So you're welcome. I'm just kidding. Any other
Madam-
anybody else?
I do have further numbers if you
For-
want to hear them for weather pay and only fun.
I mean, we
Uh,
kind of get the picture, but I
okay.
appreciate it.
Madam Chair, as far as when the building is closed, when I was the sheriff, I had conversations at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning with the night sergeant, Phelan with the city of Grand Forks, the University of North Dakota, the superintendent of schools, and we had many conversations. So we were all on the same page. You know, if the city says, you know, we're not plowing streets anymore, we're done until this thing is over, then as the only time that then got a hold of the chair and said, this is what's going on. And so if we were closed, the city was closed, the University of North Dakota was closed. So, and I don't know, Andy, how they
It's
do
still-
it now, but
That's still pretty similar. We use Zoom now. So we're all up at 4:30 in the morning with our fresh faces on,
yeah,
talking about that. I think only one time this year was Mr. Brenner in disagreement on what we were doing and he decided to
Yeah.
close the schools.
Yeah.
But other than that, each entity does have their own,
but the key
say,
was,
but-
was my night sergeant.
right.
You know, what's it like out in the county?
Yep.
you know, so.
I reached out to Nick's crew, our sheriff, like the boots on the ground, folks that are out in the county. What does it look like? Because in town looks very different than out of town, excuse me. So.
Madam Chair. I guess my biggest concern about any change to this policy is that we don't treat it like a solution in search of a problem. Like I want to make sure that that the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak. And so I'm not ready to vote on any change to this today. I would actually move that we talk about it in 2 weeks, because I don't feel like I've had enough time to absorb, because there's so much nuance, and there's so many like different situations that have been brought to my attention by people that work within the county, and just things that didn't dawn on me, you know, so different scenarios. And so I don't know, to change it right now to me is a hair premature.
And I think it does need to be noted that we are the only entity, Mr. Ford, you can correct me if I'm wrong, around that does do something for building closures, correct, for inclement weather?
Yes, ma'am. With the city, if the city hall closes and you're essential, you're expected to show up if you're scheduled. University of North Dakota is the same way. Cass Counties is interesting, but yes, right now, Grand Forks County as a regional employee is the only political sub that offers this benefit to essential employees.
Very good. The only thing that I would look at is the hour for hour. I guess as a board, I don't want to micromanage the departments, and I would like the department heads to have more discretion over what their employees are doing. So this is just a thought, and I would be open for discussion, is if someone has come in and they're essential, next week they have a dentist appointment to take to their kid, instead of making them take vacation hours, they let them just take that 1 hour for free, just giving them a little more flexibility on their schedule rather than here's $200 because you came to work and did your job. Because my fear is that $200, and we're thinking about budget, $200 is going to turn into $400 and $500 and $600. So that's my 2 cents.
Essential personnel means essential personnel. And so I'll probably lose, but this dog doesn't hunt with me. You took the job, that's your job. If you want to be in the building that gets closed and you can get to go home, when there's an opening in that department, feel free to apply. This is the job you took. We have to have deputies out, we have to have a jail functioning, and we got to plow the roads. That's our job. And that's the job you signed up for. And so, and all I gotta say is, I've had multiple jobs in this realm, been there, done that. That's the job you took.
Ms. Peach, if you're still, you have any comments that you'd like to add?
No, I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
All right. Well, if there's anybody else that wants to visit about this, Mr. Sheriff Schneider wants to comment.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I'll just throw just a little bit of information at you, a little bit of background. And ironically enough, I tend to side a little bit more with Commissioner Bierke on this one. So I've been through this with 6 different county chairs, commission chairs. And I will tell you that every single commission chair has a different opinion on how this should work, as you see with those numbers. The policy changed, I believe, 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's about right, Sheriff.
Because to be blunt, they didn't really like the way that I was doing it, and the commission wanted more control. So I wrote a very long explanation of the process that I do that was very similar to Commissioner Ross. Not to one up former Sheriff Ross, but I drove the roads myself a lot of times, because when you have the sergeant that has a wife that might get the day off, or a sergeant that's single that just wants to work in and get the money, you get different opinions on how bad the conditions really are. So a lot of times I would just check that out myself as well. Whatever way the commission decides to go, I mean, it really isn't going to matter to me. You are correct, though, as far as the pay side goes. I think that, upon observation and Mr. Ford's clarification on the $200 stipend, this whole thing, in my opinion, came up because some commissioners want to try to save money. And if we go with the $200 stipend for inclement weather, including weekends, this is going to cost the commission more money than the current hour for hour deal. So, if there is a closure and we do get the extra hours because essential personnel is out there currently, I don't allow the comp time like you asked or suggested. And now that I'll be in charge of over 100 employees that will be part of that essential personnel, if we start doing, we give them time off instead of paying them out straight pay that doesn't count towards overtime. The scheduling nightmare that creates within the 28 days that we're allowed to use that time frame isn't worth it. So every dollar you see on there that was paid out, none of that was compensated days off. That was all just paid out because it's way easier. So again, we know what we signed up for and we're out there to work. We will have to purchase some cots. I do believe that we do not have cots, and there are actually COs that live in the county and don't want to use their vacation, so they sleep on the floor in rooms in the jail so they can work their next shift instead of trying to go home that night. So that hasn't happened since March when I've taken over, but it happened prior to. And obviously we want to try to accommodate them so they actually have someplace decent to sleep if they're in that situation. Any questions for me?
We can check with emergency management. I think they have cots.
Perfect. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
for your feedback. All right, if we don't have any other things to talk about on this, we will put it on the next agenda to vote on it. Does that sound good with everybody? We got that noted that we can put that on the 18th, please?
Madam Chair, we'll bring it back, but how would you like it to read for the inclement weather pay?
I'm not really sure at this moment.
Madam Chair, I can defer to the state's attorney too. I think there is a process for policy changes.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I think it is in the county's best interest to move this to the next board meeting so that employees can be properly noticed of any change that may be contemplated. With that said, if you want the notice to go out to these employees for what you'd like them to consider or the board to consider, we could make any updates to the current draft that was included in today's packet. So that they have maybe not the official approved version, but maybe more in line with the wishes of the board.
Without breaking an open meetings law, could each commissioner notify Mr. Ford of their opinion, and then he could then create a report out of that? I don't want to break any laws because we're not really talking among ourselves. We're just informing of our opinion. Would that be okay?
Yes, but if those opinions conflict with each other, it might be difficult to draft.
Well, he's gonna have to do the 3-2. He's gonna have to figure it out. You have to count the votes. But I'm saying that's the only way if they're not deciding, if they're not ready tonight. I mean, as long as we're not violating open meeting, just not discussing it, but just saying, Mr. Ford, this is my opinion, something along this line. And everybody get back to him within a week. And then he can just say, well, this is the best I could come up with based on what I was received. So as long as that's not breaking the laws, I think maybe that's the answer. Because if they're not going to answer it tonight, then, but you should get it sooner rather than later because
Right,
we're heading into blizzard season.
Yeah, we want this done before
Yeah.
we get a snowflake outside, but yeah, there's just some things we need to mull over here.
So you know where I'm at. The other 4 commissioners want to let Mr. Ford know where you're at, and then he could bring a proposal, and then we could debate and vote next meeting. Is that okay?
Okay, and thank you for that, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Last 2 items. In September, the board approved absorbing the WIC program. And we finally have a notice of grant award contract, and we have requirements addendum Now there's some email traffic with Ms. Wamstad and the state, but once Ms. Wamstad is satisfied, I'd be asking the board to allow Chair Hagan to sign both the grant acceptance agreement and the required addendums, which we have to do if we want the federal funding.
Moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? I was looking at you.
I'm ready to vote. I'm going to vote no. So if you want to,
All
I'm a no.
right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 4-1 with Mr. Bierke dissenting.
Last item, Madam Chair, Commissioners, the North Dakota Department of Transportation public comment open house on the Highway 2 County Road 5 Airport Road intersection is tonight and tomorrow night. I believe doors open at 5:30, presentation starts at 6, and that's where they'll be running through the two alternatives, the interchange or the roundabout. And that's all I have, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Ms. Wamstead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a contract that I'd ask for a motion to approve with the chair's signature. This is for our legal research platform that our office uses regularly. It is a slight increase from years past, but what isn't included in here is they're giving us like a one-time credit, so it should be budget neutral for next year. This is just a one-year agreement. We'd have the option to renew past the 1 year. We priced out a number of different options. However, the market is rapidly changing with AI capabilities, and so that's why we negotiated a 1-year contract, just because I think even 12 months from now, things might look a little bit different, but we do have the funds in our budget to cover.
Second.
Oh, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
All right, committee reports, Mr. Bierke.
No meetings for me.
All right, Ms. Peach.
I have nothing to report.
All right, Mr. Rost.
4-hour meeting yesterday.
Thank you for the point.
Yeah. Get that in. I felt inadequate. So, but it was a very good meeting. So a lot of material. That's all.
Had EDC yesterday. It's kind of business as usual. They had to be a little nimble with their budget. Their portion was cut a little bit from the public entities, and they've changed some job descriptions in their I guess organizational chart. So there's that. And then one thing I wanted to bring to light is the employee association. They're having a free will benefit on Thursday the 13th. It's designed to help people within the county that have any sort of a health issue, and maybe their insurance doesn't quite, get them up to speed or whatever. And I think it's a really nice thing that people are doing for one another. And so I was hoping Mr. Hutton would have stayed till this portion of the meeting, but I did want to throw the first donation at it. Mr. Schneider, you're his boss, would you give it to him? I got a couple $100 I'd like to throw at that for, Kim thought I was going to pay her for something, but I'd like to throw the first couple $100 at it just as a show of solidarity to the folks that might be struggling with whether it be cancer or heart issues or whatever. So that's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Before this, we had a legislative priorities meeting, which we will bring those back to the board, I think, fairly soon. The other thing that I did was on last Wednesday, the EDC had a strategic plan and input session for a variety of stakeholders in the community, and so they'll be working on their strategic plan for next year. So that was fun to be a part of. But other than that, I don't have anything else to add. All right. Do you want to do your thing?
Madam
Oh.
Chair, under unfinished business. I would like to recuse Commissioner Rusted
All right,
for voting on the next.
all right, all right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. And then want to go ahead and motion to,
Okay. So we have that Grand Sky.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve that invoice.
very good.
Sorry.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously with Mr. Rusted recused. And it looks like we have a couple different correspondence, the Red River Community Housing Development Organization, the Grand Forks Community Service and Restitution, excuse me. Thank you. All right. I think that we've gotten to the end of our agenda, Mr. Rusted.
We move adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
We